There you go. Mike's warming up for the big one. That's, of course, next Saturday. We won't worry about that now because we've got ourselves a rather interesting clash in the NFC. Who's going to make it? We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in St. Louis taking on the Rams. It's 3 apiece after that first quarter. You might suggest it's a kind of moral first quarter, therefore, for the travelling Buccaneers. So that's obviously the way they're going to be going and thinking about it. But obviously, it's a whole game still to come here. 3 quarters of action to go. Let's go back to our commentary team, John Madden and Pat Summerall.
There was a second left on the clock.
That's right.
He got up and called timeout. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable.
And there it was, gone.
Yeah, but, let's replay it.
That's right. Let's have another go. Exactly.
Let's have
that's
a minute and a half review.
Use that old trick of it again. Now we had the home team now getting their noses in front in one of the more bizarre kind of situations. But there you go. The Rams have snuck ahead.
No sooner did we say that there was the perfect start for Tampa Bay in the first quarter than they started the second quarter with about the worst thing that could have happened to them. And, you know, nothing, it happens when you're in a shotgun. And, you know, I mean, we were talking between the periods about how when teams ran in the single wing offense, they used to do this every play was a shotgun, and it didn't seem to bother anybody. But this time it did. And Sean King makes what you save yourself 7, or you save your kicker having to kick with a short punt out of the, you know, a short snap out of the end zone. So all in all, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was the way to go. You're quite impressed by the way the Rams kind of upped it again in that second period.
Well, they tried to, but I mean, what is really impressive is the way Tampa's defense just takes things away from you so quickly. And the Rams basically were pulling out all the stops, you know, trying to get something to do, which is what they do. I mean, they'll work plays with 2 fakes on the same play and that kind of stuff. But the play that I really loved was the end around to Oz Hakeem, which Tampa have to know is coming because he's carried the ball quite a bit. And if we take a look at it on the big telestrator, whose color green is really insane on my machine right here. So I'll say, but the thing to watch on this is Az is going to come around from here. It's quite a simple end around. Watch the way Tampa, even after they shift, managed to string the thing out, and watch the guy who's the lead blocker coming around, and he actually does get his behind him on the side. But you know, you love to see your quarterback out there leading the sweep, you know, power sweep with the quarterback in front.
And like I said, those kind of plays and other things that they try to, I guess against the Buccaneers, it's what they need to do, isn't it, really?
But they're very tough plays to work against the Bucs. What you're trying to do, though, by running these, is to use the Bucs team speed against them, to get them committed one way, and then you can get around. Remember, Az is as Marshall Faulk, both very, very quick guys, so you're hoping what they can do is just catch them on the wrong foot, literally, and get past them on the side. Because I've said so many times talking about the Bucs that when they're in nickel defense, even when they're in normal defense with 3 linebackers, because Nickerson and Brooks are so quick, but when they've got 5 defensive backs plus Nickerson and Brooks in there, they just cover so much of the field. It's unbelievable. And they're back in pass coverage, but they're also coming up so quickly. It's really hard to get those balls to the backs coming out of the backfield, which is a major weapon for St. Louis.
But again, you know, proper game of chess there, very tight, isn't it? 2 different styles going against each other.
But if you told me, I told a couple of people that, you know, I was figuring it was a field goal game for Tampa, but if you told me that anyone could hold St. Louis to 5 points in the first half of a game, I would have basically said that's not really possible. You'd expect they have to get a touchdown somewhere along the line, but you know, they, apart from that one drive where they settled for the field goal, they weren't really close to a touchdown.
It's true, it's true. Still half a game to go then in this NFC Championship race. Of course, it's the team that's going to be making its way to Super Bowl. We know our other winner. We'll be looking at action for that particular game after the break, and we also want to hear from you. Here is the fax number. It is 020-7430-4099, 020-7430-4099. That is the fax number. We've got a few faxes here that we're going to be dealing with at half-time, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. We'll be chatting to you throughout the rest of the show. And also, Mike's got some more news from the old coaching merry-go-round, which, as you know, is particularly busy at this time of the year, is it not?
Getting busier every day.
That's right, indeed. So all that's still to come in, of course, the second half of this great game. See you in a couple of minutes.
There is an online service where you can buy train tickets the easy way to anywhere in Britain, and we'll even deliver the tickets to your door. So if you want to get on a train, get on thetrainline.com.
Where would we be without a national film and television school?
Big Budget Films presents Horror. Oh, what a lovely show.
Going to kill her.
Ooh, ah. Oh, I'm ill.
She's ill.
Romance. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, you're nice.
I've brought a Lilo.
Oh, I'm blind. Comedy.
I just put this banana skin here, and then we got a plot. Thank goodness for that Lilo.
And now action.
Look, Frank, you're a very bad man. Take that, take that, take that.
Oh, I've won. Oh, I've lost.
I'm not Frank.
Art house.
My mind is blue and I float upon a sea of flying turkeys. Oh, this is a load of rubbish. The National Film and Television School. Support the school, support the industry. You're a cute little statue. Mwah. Come and meet my Lilo.
5-3 is the Rams over the Bucs after that first half. Second half still to come, of course. But earlier on in the day, the AFC Championship was decided. These two teams, of course, going out for the NFC. For the full story on how that particular game went, here is Rob Bannigan.
Eddie George fires his teammates up, and after surrendering an early touchdown, the Titans roar back. Tennessee caps a 10-play drive on 3rd and 1 from the 9. Steve McNair connects with Yancey Thigpen, whose extra effort gets him into the end zone for a 7-7 tie. For the Jaguars' running game, it's been Fred Taylor getting all the headlines, but James Stewart shows off his skills as he rumbles in for a 33-yard touchdown in the second quarter as Jacksonville goes to halftime with a 14-10 lead. But it is a completely different game in the second half, and the tide is turned in 1 minute of the third quarter. The Titans lead 17-10 and are looking for more when Tennessee's Frank Wycheck fumbles at the Jags' 1-yard line and Jacksonville takes over. Good for the Jags, right? Wrong. 2 plays later, Brunell is sacked in the end zone for a safety, and the 2 points give the Titans a 19-14 lead. Jacksonville is then awarded a free kick goal. For the 3rd time this season, they beat 33-14 the final. Jacksonville has no one to blame but themselves. 5 turnovers, penalties, and poor pass protection mean they'll be watching the Super Bowl from home.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we've seen the Titans, you know, they seem to have something, their name written on something this season.
They certainly have a curse on Jacksonville. And they didn't convey just how much Jacksonville came out looking like they would dominate that game. They went right down the field and scored. They should have been leading 21-7 at the half, but Brunell threw an interception that should have been a touchdown at one end, and they had one really unlucky call in the first half, which was a pass interference against them, but there should have been a delay of game penalty on the Titans. They got away with a late play, and it worked
Someone
out
up there
badly.
does like the Titans, don't they?
Well, 100 yards in penalties.
Yeah.
The Jags, most of which was their own fault, admittedly. But the key thing to me was that Mark Brunell was under enough pressure from the start of the game that he never looked to secondary receivers. He never checked down. He was always going to a guy. That's why he threw the interception in the end zone. Jimmy Smith, for the first half, was the only guy who was catching the ball, and he was throwing to. He had some drops. Alvis Whitted just never showed up for the game, dropped a couple of key balls that would have turned the game one way or another. And the other thing I didn't understand was why, when he was in the grasp in the end zone, why he didn't just throw the ball away. Because even if they call intentional grounding on you, the penalty's half the distance to the goal, and you're this far away from the goal anyway, so it goes down to this far away. So, you know, your punter's punting the same way out, and you don't give up the safety. But, you know, Tennessee has surprised me for 3 weeks in a row, and it's time we took them seriously, basically. And they played the same kind of game they played in the first 2 games. Enough offense to win, but basically special teams taking advantage of the other team's mistakes, and you know, really tough pursuing defense won it for them.
Okay, I might chat a little bit more about the Titans after the break, because I had some facts about the team. But before we do that, before we go after the break as well, I mentioned early on the old merry-go-round for the coaches it's a blur at the moment. You can't see anything. They're on and off, and the latest piece of news is from New York City, I understand.
Yeah, I took some notes because you can't tell the players without a program. But basically, the situation in New York now is that the commissioner, Paul Tagliabue, has ruled that Belichick did indeed have a contract with the Jets, and he has broken it by quitting, so that if Belichick goes to New England or anywhere else for that matter, they'll have to reach compensation with the Jets. Now, Bill's lawyers are saying, we'll sue you, and it's a restraint of trade, and blah, blah, blah. But I think what will happen is the Patriots, in all likelihood, will reach a deal with the Jets, maybe give them back all those bad draft choices they made with the Parcells choices, and Belichick will wind up being GM and head coach for the Patriots. Now, in the meantime, the Jets are going to announce tomorrow that Al Groh, who was the linebacker coach and nominally the defensive coordinator before Belichick came back to Parcells, will be their new head coach.
Wow.
And the merry-go-round continues.
Yes.
There's been a few other moves, which I'm going to have to just check. Foge Fazio has gone from being defensive coordinator at Minnesota to being the linebacker coach at Washington. Their new defensive coordinator will be Ray Rhodes, and that should be announced probably tomorrow. Jim Lind, who was the defensive coordinator at Seattle when Fritz Shermer died nominally again, he's now moved back to the offense. Steve Sidwell takes over the defense, and Gil Haskell, who was the offensive coordinator at Carolina, goes to Seattle. And in the other big move, Jim Bates goes from Dallas to Miami as defensive coordinator, and the rumor is that Chan Galley will join him, the Dallas head coach, as Miami's offensive coordinator under Dave Wanstead.
Excellent. So plenty of flat hunting going on out there now as we speak in the closed season for a lot of these teams.
These guys live in big houses.
I think that's right, exactly. Probably slightly bigger ranch-style looking gaff they're looking for than that, aren't they, really? Mind you, of course, at the moment we've got one team definitely on the way through, exactly. Don't need them. We've got two more teams who are still fighting out to get there to the championship, to the Super Bowl position. And 5-3 is a very narrow lead for the Rams over the Bucs. That second half coming up in a moment's time. But when we come back from the break as well, we're going to have reactions from the AFC game plus your faxes. See you in a moment.
Brian thinks he's a dog. That's why he's not going to Going Places' mega holiday sale. He's missing out on up to 30% off, free insurance, and no deposit till March. So don't be barking like Brian. Get down to Going Places' mega holiday sale now. You'd be mad to miss it.
Miss the calcium in your milk at breakfast? Kellogg's Nutri-Grain bars contain more calcium than a quarter pint of milk. Good food on the go.
Half a game to go now, game of the week. It's decided for the NFC Championship, a very narrow lead, 2 points for the Rams over the Bucs.
5-3, a hat-trick could win it.
That would do it any time. That's all we need now, isn't it, really? Obviously, we mentioned earlier on there as well, you saw the action from the AFC. That has been decided. It was the Titans actually winning that one. It seems they are blessed this season. It was a victory over the Jacksonville Jags. It was a bit of a surprise one, it has to be said as well. And here is the reactions from post-game.
And for a while it's real ugly and everyone's doubting us and we just find a way. And I mean, this is a tough team with a great bunch of individuals. You know, the good Lord's been with us. This takes the monkey off the back of the Matthews family a little bit.
You're not going to win football games when you're not sharp enough to be able to do the kinds of things that you do in practice and study. And but it didn't happen. So frustration, yes. Disappointment, yes.
There's a lot of difficult things that, you know, I've been through to make this moment special. You know, not winning the Heisman, not throwing for so many yards like the other quarterbacks, taking the heat for that. But I think of all the things I've been through this year, this is what means the most to me, is getting to the Super Bowl and winning.
There you go. That's a reaction there from that game there. Titans on the way. And Apostolos knew this was going to happen. I think Apostolos is from Surrey. He's faxed us saying, let's hope they go all the way and win it, is what he says. And he put his money where his mouth is. At the beginning of the year, he got them at 25-1.
Not a bad price.
To win the Super Bowl.
Remember, this team was 8-8 for three straight seasons under Jeff Fisher.
So that's a good move. Also, Stephen in London faxes. He was getting all misty-eyed from the days when they were the Houston Oilers. And but he's feeling a bit better now. He's come to terms with the fact that the Titans are in Tennessee. He's doing okay with that one. Come Super Bowl Sunday, whoever it is going to get a taste of the House of Pain, he suggests. Now, what do you think that there is a bit of destiny about the way the Titans are getting it together
I mean, they've won 3 games in all 3 cases that you know, I wasn't convinced they were going to win. But remember, for a wild card team, it's an uphill climb to get to the Super Bowl. And then when you're in there, you know, you're going against one of the best teams in the league. And if we take a look at the other teams, basically, that have gotten to the Super Bowl via the wild card teams are in yellow, and you can see a couple of them got pretty bad results, but basically 2 have won, 3 have lost. New England had the misfortune of running into Chicago, and Stanley Morgan dropping a pass that would have put them up. And the interesting thing there is that Jeff Fisher was an assistant to Buddy Ryan, who devised Chicago's defense, the Super Bowl 20 winners, when he was at Philadelphia, and that's where he gets his defense from. Denver, got a wild card and beat Green Bay, so Oakland beat Philadelphia. So it is.
The odds ain't bad,
possible.
are they?
Yeah.
The odds ain't bad. It can be done, it said as well. Now, just before we go back to the second half, Colin Ogilvie, I mentioned you earlier on. You're from Maltby near Rotherham. You're not a very well person at all. He's not a very well. Now everybody else does, so you can go get him. Can I ask you a small favour? He says. Will Mike be allowed to sing one more time before the end of the season? I had a good laugh last time. It stopped me from dozing off.
I did it my way.
Well, Colin, as you can do, that's just a brief taste there of Mr. Mike Carlson's singing talents. However, if you want to hear him in his full glory, we will have a season review programme coming up in a couple of Mondays' time. That'll be the 6th of February. We'll be looking back at the whole year during the course of that, of course, and it will feature highlights and that, undoubtedly.
Set your video recorder to mute.
The dulcet tones of Mike Carlson. Who wanted to sing along a Mike? That'll be in a couple of Mondays' time. However, we've got some slightly more important business to sort out first. Who is going to be meeting the Titans in the Super Bowl? Well, we can find out now. We're going to go to our second half and hear once again John and Pat.